Bucky, BTJ, Dobbins, JD5, Dowdle, Monangui season. All of that and more. The Fantasy Football Show Breaking News Edition, Midday Edition begins right now. Buckle up, Buttercups. We've got a lot of news to go over as we head into Week 10. Fantasy Football Show content. This show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Rico Dowdle, where art thou? Rico Dowdle, I'll tell you where he is. He's in your lineup because he's not even on the injury report anymore. So all the freak out Freddies out there, you can relax. And I don't want to hear anymore. But if he does sit, what do I do? He's fine. He's ready to rumble. Rico's ready to continue to be a top 5 to 10 running back going forward. And anybody that traded for this man before last week, as advised, is raking in and feeding families. So now we're back to this other news that we need to unfortunately discuss, which is Bucky, which we've talked about all week long. Everybody should have been preparing for him to be out this week. It was really kind of easy to see coming. There was no updates. There was no good positive reports. He was going to sit this week, and he was a fantastic trade away for the Barkleys, the Henrys, the Rico Dowdles, the Josh Jacobs, all those players when the ambiguity was still in play. Since the announcement, since the negative vibe about him not practicing and all that, before any of that started, we're talking about Sunday games were going on and everybody's like, I think we're getting him back this week. That's when you had to trade him. Two types of people in this world. Those that don't own Bucky, those that do own Bucky. If you don't own Bucky, you go to the owner, you pry him away from that owner's, I would say, nearly lifeless fingertips right now. They're looking for anything right now. You could steal Bucky away. He still could be a total league winner. The problem is the other type of people that have Bucky have been sitting there getting no points, which has been ill-advised for weeks. You have to go, as I've said for, I think it's 3.5 weeks now, you have to go get somebody that's getting you points. If you've got 2 or 3 wins, you can't wait on it. You couldn't have waited on this. This situation has been very ambiguous. And so if you are a non-Bucky owner, go grab him because he's cheap as hell right now. His owner's panicking. His owner's 2 and 3 are 2 or 3 wins, maybe 3 or 4 wins, still panicking. 4 wins, still panicking. 5 wins, probably not as much. 6, 7 wins, no, not panicking, but maybe still vulnerable because they're frustrated. No matter what the case may be, go get this man before it's too late. And if you own him, you probably have very little hope right now because you've been sitting there hanging on to him instead of trading him for some value. More on Bucky. I do anticipate him being like a 70% chance, likely 65-70. That's not even that big of a number, but 65-75%, somewhere around that range of playing next week. We really can't make too many arbitrary guesses on that because we don't have any information. They're just not releasing much. The only thing we do know, and this is the positive, is that Bucky has not taken hits yet. He's running. All of that indicates that it's all good news. It's just been slow moving, and they haven't updated us about what stage he's at. And his stage is so far away from playing, walking out of last week, they didn't want to tell us that. But no news is usually bad news when it comes to a situation like this. You could smell it coming from a mile away. But I do believe that the indications that he hadn't taken hits yet, he's running, all that seems like a week to 2 weeks out. This was stuff we heard as the week started to unfold. So if we consider that this week and then the majority of next week is him ramping up, then I think we're in a pretty decent spot for him to get into a real good situation walking into week number 11. So Bucky Irving. This man right here, Kyle Monangui, according to his coach, let me see if I can find this report here. I think this is it. According to his coach, Ben Johnson, First of all, Swift, dealing with a personal issue, did not practice today and is now questionable for Sunday's game after missing last week with the groin injury. Swift is definitely a concern. If you've got just Swift and no Monangui, you should have cuffed these two. But if you don't have them cuffed, you're kind of in a bad spot right now, because the word is on the street coming from Ben Johnson that he's rolling with the hot hand moving forward, which means that Monangui, the current hot hand, is going to get a whole bunch of work moving forward. That this man, who's probably, and I've described this before, he's the Monty in the Monty Gibbs dynamic, the Sonic and Knuckles, but it's a different balance of production and value. Whereas in Detroit, when Ben Johnson had his Gibbs and Monty, Gibbs was the more talented player. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Swift. He's been very good this year. He's been playing very, very well. He has been very much playing that Jahmyr Gibbs role for Ben Johnson. But at the end of the day, Monangui is more overwhelmingly talented than Monty was in that dynamic over in Detroit, that we might see the Monty version of the Sonic and Knuckles in Chicago be more productive and more relied upon than the Gibbs version, because the balance of the talents. This guy's going to the moon. If you've got him, he's an absolute fantastic top 10, top 12 running back play anytime he's starting or getting remotely close to starter work. Now, the hot hand could make it to where this guy goes out and fumbles. Swift gets back in there and he's questionable. Maybe Swift plays, maybe he doesn't. But if Swift got back in there and then scored a touchdown or ripped off a 40-yard run, the hot hand could shift. If you need a little reminder of being humbled in these scenarios where you think you've got gold and then you don't, keep in mind Vidal looked better than Monangui looks right now 2 weeks ago. So there is some sort of, okay, let's not get too ahead of our skis, but we're excited. We're excited to go skiing. I'll tell you that right now. But don't get too ahead of your skis and start thinking that you can go trade for him right now using a Bucky Irving or whatever that you've waited on. Now, I'm not saying don't get Monangui and another player for Bucky in your current situation. If you've been that person that hasn't listened to me and you've been hanging on to Bucky and you weren't able to, you didn't have the record to hang on to Bucky, then you got to look at something probably. But Monangui, again, just to reemphasize the point, Vidal looked as good, if not better, than Monangui walking out of that Chargers lambasting. Remember when the Chargers lambasted? Everybody on the Chargers ate. Ladd ate. Vidal ate. Everybody ate. Gadsden ate. Everybody ate that game two weeks ago. And Vidal was a top 8 running back in everyone's mind. Everybody, no, including me, everybody was excited. And I still like Vidal a little bit. Don't cut him. You know, he might bounce back this week a little bit. But let's just remember how quickly things can get taken away when you have nice things in the NFL, in fantasy football. But man, this kid's trajectory is literally headed toward Mount Everest, and we're excited about it. This guy's got 120, 130 rushing yard upside anytime he's getting starts and starter carries. And again, hot hand approach is underway in Chicago, so that's great news. Rico Dowdle, if you missed the onset of this, not even a concern, not even an injury, not even a listed injury designation. This man is full go. Rico Dowdle, top 5 to 10 running back numbers the rest of the season. Feels disrespectful to even throw that top 5 to 10 range in there, but we're doing it to be safe. Dalvin Cook. Oh, all the Twitter experts out there, the medical field on Twitter. The medical field, they're so busy doing their medical stuff that they have time to weigh in and talk about all the different mechanisms that potentially look like they're in play. Dalvin Cook, this mechanism, rolling his ankle, it's severed. He's done. He's gone. I imagine an ankle replacement might be in store. All these medical experts that are pretending to play fantasy. This guy's not even a concern, an injury concern, walking into the season or into week number 10. So fire up your Cook. Did I say Dalvin again? Damn it, I keep saying Dalvin. James Cook, his brother was a marvel. His brother deserves a standing ovation. Meatloaf, at least.
I smell meatloaf.
Damn, Dalvin. Dalvin, get out of my head. Dalvin's living rent-free in my head. You know, Dalvin was in the original intro of this show where it'd say top 5 running back. Remember that? Anybody that's been an OG with me, the original intro of the show was me showing a picture of Dalvin Cook. And I said top 5 running back, and it was a huge bold prediction that landed that was in the intro of the show. But yeah, Dalvin was a boss. But James Cook looks phenomenal. James Cook is set to have a big day. James Cook is bye week free. James Cook is not even injured, yet the mechanisms out there will tell you that, oh, he's probably done for weeks, right? No, wrong. The answer is no. The answer is Dalvin Cook is on the rise again. Dalvin Cook, damn it. James Cook. James Cook, damn it. James Cook.
Take a big lap. We don't need your hating ass coming back now. Take a big lap. Take one and you don't come.
James Cook, Smitty. James Cook, not Dalvin. Oh, another mechanism. Oh, this guy, he might not. His shoulder, according to the algorithmic star molecule dimension structure, the AC joint, he may be out 2 or 3 weeks. Or
stock on the rise.
This guy ain't even a concern. Judkins going to the moon from week number 10 on. This is a guy that's going to carry you. He's got the bye week out of the way. The bye week was beautifully placed, just like him and Saquon Barkley as well. This bye week couldn't have come at a more beautiful time for these monster running backs. Barkley is going to go crazy. Groin injury, not a concern right now. A little bit more of somebody we watch coming out of the game, make sure he comes out unscathed. But Judkins, not even a concern at this point. Judkins is going to go crazy. This is a top 6 to 10 running back. This is a maybe potential top 5 running back going forward. And scooping up Barkley on pennies on the dollar, especially in the Bucky trades. Bucky for Judkins injured. Oh, Judkins is injured. Trade for him. Get him. Got him. Good. Do it live.
You've just been Smitty.
Judkins is going to be fired up and be full go. Awesome news there. I think. So let me see real quickly. So Bucky Irving ruled out for week 10. If you didn't know, Bucky Irving out week 10. DeAndre Swift not practice today, out with a personal issue, but again nursing potentially still the groin injury and the hot hand threat. We got Stevenson. Stevenson is unlikely to play, been ruled out essentially. Let's see here, toe unlikely to play. I believe he's essentially been ruled out. So Stevenson not playing week number 10, which means Hendy's probably getting more run now. Again, not to get ahead of your skis, not to put other monster players on the bench. Always start your studs. Hendy has the remnants of a stud, but he isn't necessarily a locked-in stud. And you might say, Smitty, I'm done with him. I'm dropping him. Or if he doesn't do it this week, I'm going to cut him. You do whatever you want. I mean, the only thing I can tell you is, again, Bucky Irving didn't start until week 13 last year. And he didn't get good volume until week 10, which is the current week that Hendy's walking into right now. And I can't promise that Hendy's going to get the volume that Bucky got walking into week 10. I can't even promise that Hendy ever starts a game, in terms of starter touches. But I would say that 18 carries last week and 4 receptions constitutes a start. That's starter volume. And while he didn't score or have quite the performance production-wise that you wanted, it's still a start. He's still in good positioning, and he walks into this one in the same boat he was last week. And I really think that this is going to be a nice game for him. I can't guarantee it. I can't guarantee that they don't pull him out and we don't see him in the second half or something like that. All I know is that they drafted this kid for a reason. And in Bucky, if you were thinking about Bucky starting weeks 1 through 9, you would have been so frustrated last year to the same degree that you are here. And so, you got to ask yourself, are you willing to walk away at this point? Fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not going to sit here and beg you to stay in Hendy's corner. But, it depends on your situation and what kind of setup your team has. What are your options? No one's asking you to sit a stud for Hendy. But if you are in dire straits anyway, if you're rolling out a potential, let's even use Franklin, you know, from last night. You're rolling out Franklin, who scored and did pretty well, or a Hendy, you've got a dilemma on your hands. If you've got a player like Rico Dowdle or Judkins, or you've got a Javonte Williams, or you've got a Derrick Henry, or you're talking about even a player to the tune of I don't know, let me look at a wide receiver and just kind of give you an idea of like where I'm saying no. Like Garrett Wilson, no. You got those guys, you're putting them in your lineup. But if you're sitting here going, Smitty, I have a Romeo Dobbs, I have a Quentin Johnston, I have these guys that are questionable to put into my flex, well then yes, you have a dilemma. And if you can on Hendy and he doesn't deliver, you need to be okay with that. You need to be okay with that. Not me. It's not my responsibility to bank on when he gets unleashed. All I can tell you is what I know. What I know is he's an elite talent. What I know is like Bijan, when Bijan was a rookie, getting abused by his coaching staff, not even number 2 on the depth chart for goal line touches. He was number 3 behind Cordell Patterson and mother freaking Tyler Algier. I couldn't control any of that. Nor was it easy to see coming. It wasn't like Arthur Smith, who had just turned Algier into a 1,000-yard rusher as a rookie the year prior and used solely him. It wasn't easy to see coming. Doesn't matter. It still failed. And I took an L for that. I admit, I wear an L, a scarlet L, on my shoulder. I should have got a tattoo of it. I failed on Bijan's rookie year expecting the world because he had a dumb coach that didn't know what he was doing. I wear that. If I'm going to be the highest on Bijan, I got to also take the L, and I did. Now, Hendy, I'm doing the same thing. I take the L up to this point. I really believe that this is maybe a turning point. It might not be. I can't control that. Nor am I asking you to put your fantasy season on the line. I'm merely saying if it's a second flex, a first flex play, you know, even if it's just a running back, wide receiver flex, you don't have the greatest options. Let's roll them out. But if you lose because of this, your team wasn't built to win anyway. Hendy is a good bet. It is what it is. We will find out what is in store for Hendy come Sunday afternoon. But there's no guarantees. There's no triple stamping a double stamp here. We don't know what Hendy is. We don't know if Finkel is Einhorn or if Einhorn is Finkel at this stage in the process. But I do know that the talent's there. That I'm not wrong on. Just like I wasn't wrong about Bijan. Just like I ultimately wasn't wrong about Javonte. If you go all the way back, it sucks that some of these things unfold sometimes years later, sometimes half a year later. Sometimes they take just the very next season. It's not always the case, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes in the talent evaluation process, a roadblock is put, an obstacle is put right in front of the player. And it is what it is. Stevenson news. We've got the Monangui news again. Monangui, according to Ben Johnson, I believe that a guy having a hot hand. One guy is feeling it. Give us a spark. We lean on that a little bit longer. That's where the Monangui news is going. Judkins, as I said, Judkins is off the injury report entirely with the shoulder, so that's fantastic news. This here, right here, J.K. Dobbins suffered a foot injury on what appeared to be a hip drop tackle Thursday night against the Raiders and is awaiting a second opinion per source. So here's the thing about that situation. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, he came back in the game. This happens a lot, and this is the case with even quarterbacks that go out there and play on something with adrenaline, and you make the injury even worse. You've got adrenaline pumping. Sometimes we even had, I think it was Alandis Gary. If anybody remembers Alandis Gary back in Denver, back in the day, he tore his ACL, continued to play the game. And it's rare that you tear your ACL in a way that doesn't, in football anyway, that doesn't affect, his meniscus or MCL, because essentially what you're doing when you tear your ACL in football, at least, is your knee is hyperextending, or it's extending the other way, right? So you can see the MCL stretching. You can see the meniscus crunching over here. Your knee's usually doing one of these when you tear your ACL. Landis Gary tore his ACL pretty cleanly And he played the second half with a torn ACL. Then when he came out, they're like, you have a torn ACL. And then they ended up putting him on IR, and he was out for the year. So it's not just because Dobbins continued to play. He went into the tent twice. He looked very, very hobbled. He looked very uncomfortable. Came back for, I believe, 2 carries. And then when the adrenaline was done and the swelling ensued and all of that, we don't know what's in store for the foot. So this could be something where he goes on IR literally as quick as a couple days, or we have no idea how this is going to unfold. They could wait until next week before they actually make that decision, obviously. But there is a chance that this is a nothing burger. This is a chance that this is something pretty bad. J.K. Dobbins put ban or at least call the mother freaking hip drop tackle. He was very upset and irate after this. And that reaction is what makes you think that this might end up being a bad result for J.K. Dobbins. No one's trying to celebrate injury. I do think J.K. Dobbins is standing in the way of this offense being explosive. If you wanted to say I'm biased, a couple people in the comments, some haters, said, Smitty, you're just biased. J.K.'s fantastic, and you're just so biased against J.K. Then tell me why J.K., when he's getting all this work, is the offense scoring 10 points? Why, when R.J. Harvey's getting the ball and has a hat trick, are the Broncos looking like a marvelous offensive scoring machine? So you can say what you want about the efficiency of JK, getting good yards here and there, having 4 yards per carry. But this is also one of the most injury-prone running backs in the National Football League, on top of the fact that I believe that you just get the ball in the playmaker's hands. The guy that can, when you're watching R.J. Harvey get a carry, you hold your breath. I'm literally holding my breath. There's a few players that I do that with. I'm watching and I find myself, Achane, Gibbs, R.J. Harvey, when they have the ball, I'm holding my breath. I'm just like, I feel like they're going to pop the play every single time they touch the ball. Achane, specifically Achane, for some reason, when he gets the football, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to the house every single time he touches the football. Gibbs feels that way very much. I don't know what's going to happen here. We'll keep tabs on this, but the fact that JK was so upset after the game, I don't think you have this reaction that JK had on X if it wasn't a bad result. You know what I mean? If it was like, oh, I skated by, I'd be like, hey, well, you should be looking at this, ref. I'm fine, thank God. But like, what in the hell? But this reaction's of you caused me to be in this situation. I'm so upset right now. So I have a feeling that there's going to be some sort of bad news coming for JK, but we'll have to monitor that. And again, nobody's wishing bad injury or anything upon anybody, just because we want a player to get into the lineup more than the other player. And it's I do wish JK well. I do wish he has a longer recovery than normal, just to make sure it's good to go. I'm a human being. You can't get mad at me for that. I can't stop my thoughts. My thoughts are just take a long break. Your body's, a little bit more injury prone than the average bear. Take your time. But we'll find out what's going on soon. Hang tight. Prayers up, but also we chew gum and walk at the same time. Get R.J. Harvey in there. Jaden Daniels, for those of you that missed this news earlier, this is we already knew this, but it's being reported today as if it's finally solidified. So everyone's like, breaking news. But Commanders are not expected to place Jaden Daniels on injured reserve, per sources. They will reevaluate his injury during the bye week. And Jaden Daniels not going on IR, which would be a mandatory 4 games, means that they kind of think he could come back for the 4th game. Not always the case. Sometimes teams make this call early, and then it ends up being, okay, we should have put him on IR. Example like Bucky Irving. But they're obviously thinking that this could be a good outcome. For those of you that dropped JD5, I told you not to. For those of you that are holding on to him, it's hard to do if you don't have IR. And any team that doesn't have an IR spot's wild. But there are a lot of them that have that. I play in one. It drives me mad. It's a celebrity league, but they don't even, it's like a ghost ship. It's run like a ghost ship anyway. But so yeah, it's tough to hold them if you can't put them on IR, or if you already have 2 players on IR and you don't have room. But at the end of the day, like, you can't really cut him. You know, if especially if you're in dire straits at QB. Now, if you have Drake May or another quarterback, I understand cutting him if you could pick up some solid talent. But that's a combination of having like a small roster, hefty waiver wire options out there, and then having JD5. So, you know, use your judgment as to whether you cut him or not. BTJ, can I get a thumbs up or eggplant emoji or some sort of, you know, whatever emoji you think expresses you're agreeing with me on this? Is this not the biggest bust in fantasy football 2025? I mean, there's some big candidates for this list, but BTJ got taken at 8, 9, 10, 11 by me, by everybody. And he has been by far and away probably the biggest bust in fantasy. Just trash. Just trash. I mean, he didn't even get hurt. Like, Neighbors was drafted higher, but he got injured. So you're giving him a little grace, right? He busted on you. I mean, you get injured, you busted. It doesn't matter. It's no, oh, sorry, let me get my violin out because he got hurt, he didn't bust. Yes, he did. Neighbors busted. Anybody that got hurt busted. This guy's hurt now, but he hasn't even been out for the year. This is a picture of the biggest bust in fantasy. You look up bust in the dictionary, this man's picture, this exact photo is probably staring you right in the face. I'm BTJ. What you gonna do? I'm BTJ. I'm gonna bust on you. I mean, what a absolute bust. If I could re-engineer and dissect what we thought when we thought this guy was gonna replicate what was an amazing year. I mean, I have gone over this in my head over and over and over. And I can't figure out what it is. Someone could say Trevor Lawrence, sure. But I can't figure out why he looked so good last year. And you can say Mac Jones. There's a lot of different combinations of ways to describe, you know, what happened, how it happened. But at the end of the day, this guy was number 4. You don't trip and fall into number 4. How in the hell was he number 4 last year and now he's trash? Crazy. Biggest bust in fantasy. By the way, the biggest bust in fantasy will miss Sunday's game versus the Texans due to a high ankle injury, if not hurt feelings. Maybe he's missing week number 10 with a temper tantrum. Big diva. What's even crazier is that this team didn't try and trade him walking into the week 10 trade deadline. Unbelievable. I would probably shipped him off. I don't know how I would have felt. I think kind of like MHJ, we've been giving MHJ, 9 lives, and we've been ticking the box off. 1 life gone. I mean, we've been like right around 8 or 9 lives for MHJ walking into week number 9, which MHJ with Brissett ended up.
Mashed potatoes.
MHJ looks pretty good, right? Am I right? Right? Now MHJ looks good on his 9th life. His 9th life, we don't know if it's going to, continue. We think it could. Brissett looks like he wants to feed him. And look, MHJ, I don't think we're wrong on MHJ's talent. However, he's teeter-tottering on that. If he doesn't do it, he's going to bust. Because you have to develop. Like, look at Josh Gordon, for example. You can't just put Josh Gordon or Calvin Ridley on the pine, whether it's Calvin Ridley getting suspended, Josh Gordon getting suspended. Deshaun Watson was a star at one point. You put him on the pine long enough, whether it's their own doing or not, and they just lose it. They lose that it factor. Deshaun Watson was a top 5 quarterback at one point. He was. He lost it all. Josh Gordon lost it all. And you just don't, MHJ, even on the field, if you don't get utilized, you will lose it. And so he's teeter-tottering on a very dangerous place where he needs to do it. And thank God Brissett's in town and Kyler Murray's on IR, out 4 weeks, maybe out 8 weeks, maybe benched, who knows. But damn, BTJ, if he had gone to New England, would we have said, like MHJ, okay, maybe this is his last life on his 9 live, track. Maybe. But he stayed put, so it doesn't matter. He's a bust. Chadwick says, Bucky's season is done. Stop giving bad advice. Here, Chadwick, why don't I just remove you and you can go somewhere else? Is that what you want, Chadwick? Because I'll hit the button right now because it sounds like you want to come in and talk trash. Stop giving. His season's not done. His season's not done, my guy. He's sitting out probably one more week. So I don't know what in the heck you think you're talking about. But Chadwick, let me know right now. My finger's over the button. You want to stay or you want to go? You want to talk like this constantly or not? Not. Just let me know. My finger's over the button. Let's see how you feel. You tell me. By your next response, I'll let you know. I mean, look, what is wrong with some people sometimes? I don't see him responding. I'll give Chadwick about 5 more seconds. What other news do we have? What other news do we have? I don't see him responding. This one here. Oh, this one's crazy. Breece Hall. Look at Breece Hall riding the go-kart. And so it's saying he's going viral for not taking things seriously. First of all, like, we don't know what moment in time this is inside the locker room. You know, like, we don't know what, let's see. Did he respond or should I just boot him? Let's see. I think he's being quiet, extra quiet. He says his last response was, Bucky season is done. Stop giving bad advice. Spells advice wrong. Then comes back, spells advice right. Then comes back with the LOL, doesn't defend himself at all. Chadwick, why is it bad? Before I boot you, Chadwick, make a case. Why is it bad advice? Why do you think Bucky's not returning? How is it bad advice? How is Bucky done? Chadwick, before we boot you, explain it. How is he done? Chadwick, how is he done? Explain it. You got 1 minute to defend yourself. I'll let your response and then the chat decide, like in Gladiator, whether we keep you or not, because you're in here just to cause trouble and you don't have a single lick of information that you can provide to prove what you said's correct. They've been saying he's coming back for how long? That's your evidence? That's what you got? Chadwick, we're picturing you at the facility with your hands on the wall looking into the window of Bowles' office, and this is what you have to explain while you come in and trash me in my live stream, telling people I'm giving them bad advice, telling me to stop giving them bad advice. Bucky's season's done. You've got some sort of information, and this is what you bring to the table. This is what you bring to the table, Chadwick. This is fantastic reporting. Fantastic job. Maybe we need to bring you on as an independent reporter for the Fantasy Football Show. Maybe we send you to stadiums to collect this amazing information that you have. It's fantastic, bro. Maybe I should base all my content off of your intuition. Unreal. Back to what matters. I think Chadwick's gonna pretend he never said anything. Let's. He's gonna see if I forget to block him. Here, so BTJ biggest bust of the year. This one here, Jets running back has gone viral for driving a go-kart around the locker room before practice today. Many fans are upset with his lack of intensity after reportedly wanting to be traded before the deadline. The Jets are currently 1-7. Let me just say, like, who the hell knows? Is he supposed to be all serious for like 24 hours out of the day? Is someone checking on if is he grinning during his sleep? Is he having fun while he's sleeping? Is he having a good dream? Or is his dream not about football? Did somebody check on this man's dreams? Did he dream about a F-450 truck or something like that instead of a football game? Is he not? Do we know that he's not allowed to have any sort of fun Do we know that maybe the practice was an hour and a half before starting and he got in the facility early? Do we know if practice is completely over and instead of eating food or going out and partying, he's inside the locker room, not outside causing trouble in the streets? This guy's in a locker room on a go-kart and everybody's upset at him. Just insane. Insanity. This is about as bad a reporting as Chadwick's reporting. And I don't see Chadwick responding yet. I think he's trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this. He's trying so hard. He doesn't know what to do. He's like in a cul-de-sac right now. He doesn't know how to turn around and get out the other side. Oh, Breece Hall, how dare him ride a go-kart and have a little fun when we don't even know the context. Chadwick, what do we do in this situation? Is Breece Hall cooked? Chadwick, because Breece Hall rode a go-kart, is this bad advice to say trust in Breece Hall? I'm just curious, Chadwick. All right, let's move on to the super chats for the evening. Nico and Diggs for Lamb. I'd rather have Lamb. Don't even hesitate. Trade ETN and Parker Washington for Pickens and Charbonnet. I think I'd rather have Pickens in a vacuum, but it depends on your running back situation. I do like ETN. If you had ETN and Tootin, it would make more sense to say ETN. But without Tootin, I do think Pickens is maybe safer. Hey, Smitty, I have Kyron as running back 1 and Tootin on the bench. The ETN owner has Corum. Do you think I should offer him Tootin in exchange for Corum to cover myself? You could do that. I think it would help you sleep better at night, Andrew, but I will tell you that if Tootin gets in there, you will regret the day you got rid of him. But that isn't to say that if Kyron went down, you wouldn't regret the day you didn't trade for Corum. So it's a catch-22. And it's one that has no answer because it comes down to somebody needing to get hurt or an opportunity. Let's say ETN just plays very badly. It requires a change in scenario that we don't have control over. We don't know when that change is going to happen. So I think if you're one of those people that needs to sleep at night and you can't sleep without Corum, it's not a bad move. But if he says no, you just tell him, okay, that's the last time I'm offering. I don't care if you come back to me. Tootin, you're deciding whether Tootin gets in that lineup. And you could tell him that phrase, and he might scare him into doing it. Because people don't like that. They're like, wait a minute, what are you saying? Don't put a curse on my player. You just say, you're going to decide whether Tootin starts. I'm going to get the best of both worlds if you say no to this. 1 PPR, but he might end up getting the best of both worlds, cover himself. 1 PPR, 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex. I will answer this and say that I would, in a vacuum, rather have Tootin. I think Tootin still has league-winning potential. Running backs are Hampton, Bucky, Marks, Harvey. Wide receivers are Nico, Rice, Zay, and Downs. Trade away Bucky and Flowers for ETN, Tootin, and Buka. I'll tell you this, bro. I don't think you can get Buka straight up for Bucky. So you're telling me you get ETN, Tootin, and Buka? I highly doubt you do. If you pull that off, please let us know. We will celebrate and do a standing mashed potato and meatloaf cheer for you. But getting Buka alone is almost too late at this point. But I would definitely take that trade. Smitty, flex, Waddle, Wandell, or Juwan Jennings. Wandell. Anything could happen with Jennings. I don't understand why everybody loves Jennings so much right now. Hendy projections looking marvelous. Yeah, let's not get ahead of our skis, but we're excited about the opportunity again. Start Hendy, Vidal, or Monangui. I'm going Monangui right now to be smart. But Hendy news could alter that if we heard something magnificent. But Monangui. Start JMO or Diggs. I think Diggs is safer. JMO's higher risk, higher reward. So you kind of roll with what you need, I think, depending on with that matchup. 7-2, trade Hall and Debo for Bucky and Pickens. 7-2, trade Hall and Debo for Bucky and Pickens. I'd take Bucky and Pickens, definitely. Dylan, appreciate you. My Josh Jacobs for Judkins and Pickens. I would take Judkins and Pickens and run for the hills, bro. That's a fantastic trade. This one from Vladimir. Hold Bashal, Tootin, or JD5. I'd rather have Tootin in a vacuum. I am out of IR spots. I mean, at least with JD5, you can come back and grab him, maybe. Maybe not. But, you got other quarterbacks. I think Tootin's got a little bit more value. By the time the season, You know, by the time JD5 season gets back into play, will you even be in the mix? You probably need the Tootin value. Start Brissett or pick up Goff from the waiver wire. I certainly pick up Goff. That's not a player that should be on waivers. But who do I start this week? I think it's pretty close. I probably lean toward Goff as a safe play. Brissett is probably a higher risk, higher reward play if you need some big swing. Full PPR, 1 flex Hendy, Monangui, or JMO. It's going to be Monangui until further notice. If we hear some sort of crazy, news on Hendy, then we can switch. Pick 2, Monangui, JMO, Wandell. JMO, Monangui for me. Pretty easy call. Tez, Loveland, or Pierce, 1 flex. I'm going to probably go Loveland for safety, but I think Tez could have kind of a good day. H13, 7-2, 2 flex. Herbo, Saquon, Kyron, Monty, Tank, Tootin, Rashad White, Rice, QJ, Downs, Watson, Evans, McBride, Pitts. Offered Rashad for Wandell. He countered with JMO. I'd rather have JMO. Now, if I'm sitting here going, do I need Rashad White? I don't think you do, but I think I'd take JMO. If you need a wide receiver, which I kind of think you do, yeah, you do. I would take it. I think JMO's a crafty play, my boy. Other moves, Coker, no thank you. I think it's a crafty play. Bucky's coming back, unless he suffers a setback. Hey, Smitty, I got offered Achane for Bucky and Igbuka. I would rather have Bucky and Igbuka, bro. Because Igbuka, you could argue, is maybe even if he's below Achane, how much below? So keep Bucky. Bucky's coming back. My wide receivers are JSN. Yeah, it almost doesn't. Yeah, you can't get rid of Bucky, bro. I like Achane a lot, but getting rid of Bucky when you have Buka. Now, would I move something still? Yeah, but you could trade Buka if you even wait a week. Maybe your deadline's here. If your deadline's here, then you're trading maybe Sutton and Swift for 1 wide receiver. You go Adams shopping, Garrett Wilson shopping, and then you don't have to go that route. Dynasty, Derrick Henry, Pickens, and Njoku 26th, 3rd for Bucky, Laporta. Of course, bro. I'm taking the Bucky side. I like Pickens a lot, but I'm taking the Bucky side. Trade Addison, JCM, Henry for Marks and JMO. I don't. Addison for JMO is pretty even. That's kind of where this is at. Marks is some value. I'd probably lean toward this being dead even. If you need the extra running back help for any reason, I like Marks over JCM. They're still concerned, but Chubb's injured. I think Marks could still work out. I would take JMO Marks by a hair, but it is a very, very close call. Very arguable, and I like Addison a lot. It's just this JJM can feed him a lot. I don't know. Trade Gibbs and Addison for Bijan. I'd rather have... Your wide receivers are decent. I'd probably rather have Gibbs by... I'd rather have Bijan by a hair. Just by a hair. Close call. Start 3. Rashad White, Hendy, Wandell, Flowers. I'm probably going to go Hendy and Rashad White this week. Anyway. Need a flex, Wandell, Hendy, or Rome. I probably say Hendy's your high risk, high reward play. Rome is your safe, steady Eddie play depending on your need. And are you up? Are you projected to win? Are you down by a lot? Trade Derrick Henry for Devontae Adams. I'd rather have... I think it's pretty even. I think I'd lean position of need. That's dead even to me. I think Adams is a boss, bro. Derrick Henry, I think, could play near his expected level, which he has not played all year, which is why he was in a void, but now a go get. But I think that they're in the same territory, so position of need would guide me here. Dead even. Go after Chase Brown, Bucky. I have Buka. If I could get both of them for Buka, I mean, I'd consider it, but if you're in first place, why try and fix what isn't broken? But I would say if I got both those players, I'd consider it. But what does your wide receiver room look like? What's your running back room look like? I think in a nutshell, I'd say stand down if you're in first place. This one here says Judkins, Rice for Judkins and Adunze. I would probably take, runners are Chase Brown, Hampton, Monangui. Monangui stepping up. Wide receivers, Lamb, Buka, Rice, Wandell. Man, that's tough. I mean, Adunze, Judkins. I'd probably say, that's tough. If you're putting Monangui on the bench, I don't know if I make the trade. But you are risking the biscuit assuming that Monangui keeps the job and everything, or keeps at least a heavy hand of the hot hand approach. I like Adunze, but does Caleb even know his name? I like trading for Adunze on the cheap. I'd probably lean toward Judkins and Adunze by a hair if you do need to move. You're 4-5 with Rice, although you've been waiting on Rice. That's why you're 4-5. I would probably say Adunze and Judkins if you feel like this is a move you need to make in needing to make a change. But it's really, really tough. Really tough because Rice is that good. Follow-up guy I'm trading Rashad to is also the Bucky owner. He's not so desperate to the point he'd overpay. Has Chase, Tay Adams, Sutton, JMO. Yeah, maybe get Sutton and JMO and just tell him, look, you know, you're giving me a guy that most likely one of these guys is not going to work out. I need the gamble on two of them. You take Sutton too, if you can even make a cut. But, you know, Rashad White might be important enough for him to do that. 7-2 got 2 offers. Trade away Tet and Monangui for Bucky. It's a tough call. I'd rather have Bucky if I can wait, or trade away Tet plus Monangui for Rome. I'd rather have Tet and Monangui over Rome. Would I rather have Bucky over Monangui? Not this week. That's for sure. But overall, yeah, I would. There's still, Swift is still going to be in play. So, you know, but right now, this week, you're going to probably regret it this week. Flex 2, AJ Brown, Wandell, Pittman, Monangui, Hendy, ETN. I'm probably going to go AJ Brown and Monangui for safety. Probably need to make a trade. And should I trade Lamb for Chadwick? No. But I would make another trade because you got too much talent there, bro. Pittman and Monangui you could get rid of for one player. AJ Brown, upgrade AJ Brown slightly. 3 wide receiver league. Start JMO over Tet. You have St. Brown. I think Tet's maybe a tad safer in that situation, but I don't know. I really like JMO this week. I really like JMO going forward, but he is a risk, you know. Tet's a little safer. 3 wide receiver league. Start JMO over Tet. Yeah, I'll just answer that one. Thank you. Would you trade Gibbs for Judkins and Rome? No, I would rather have Gibbs, but that's, you know, it's the same thing with the Buka trade, right? Or whatever. That's the same offer, I think, except for I'd rather have Gibbs. C-Rod is running back 1 over JCM, rushing odds shifting fast. Maybe, but you got to remember, I don't understand why people don't understand Vegas. People really don't understand Vegas at all. Everyone's like, the rushing yards, the projections. Vegas is telling us that, like, Vegas isn't telling you anything. The line moves based on the people. If a rushing line is, let's say, 99 yards and 500 people out of 500 go drop the over, guess what happens? It moves. Vegas is trying to be in the exact middle of what all of the people think so it can get the 10% rake. And so you're trusting the people. Now, the people sometimes are right. But running back 1, I think you're being a little kind there, Tyler. It's more like running back 0. I don't think there's a running back 1 in Washington. Flowers or Wandell, I'm going to go Flowers. I really like Flowers going forward. And this one here, Dub, full PPR, May, Knicks, JT, CMC, Derrick Henry, ETN, Chase, Pickens, AJ Brown, JMO, Downs, Reed. Traded CMC, AJB, Loveland for Lamb, Warren, Smitty approved. Tyler Warren, I assume. If that's Tyler Warren, I do like this trade. Lamb, Warren. But, you know, I almost feel like CMC can get you a little more. Lamb's coming off a bad game. But I don't mind this trade. I just think that you kind of you kind of sold CMC a little lower than his market value, and you kind of bought Lamb as if Lamb just had 150 and 2 touchdowns. So appreciate you. Lost Craft. Why ban Chadwick? Why ban Chadwick? Because he disagrees with you? Like, do you understand how that sounds? Do you understand how silly it sounds to suggest that I ban someone because they disagree with me? I mean, do you not watch my channel? I have an open phone line. I debate people more than anybody you know. There's not a YouTube creator or channel out that debates more than I do. So what in the hell are you talking about? I don't think you understand the difference between a disrespectful person and somebody that's disagreeing with you. Obviously. Because you seem to think this is Smitty just block. You're just like everybody else that says Smitty just blocks people that disagree with him. I don't think you watch my show. I think if this is your first time here, then we celebrate you being here and we appreciate you. But it's about being disrespectful and rude. Nor have I blocked Chadwick yet, because Chadwick shut his mouth since the last time he was disrespectful, I think. And so I've kind of sat back and tried to see what Chadwick is going to do. Let me see, now that you reminded me. Chadwick, his last response was the LOL. Chadwick said, I'm going to take my foot off the gas and get kind of coast on this one. But, you know, haters are going to hate. It seems like you're kind of hating. Am I blocking you because you said that? No. So I don't think you know what you're talking about on this topic, my boy. But I still appreciate you. Chadwick's gone dark. he's in stealth mode, just trying to hang on. He's just in stealth mode, trying to hang on for dear life. I kind of respect the way Chadwick's handling this, to be honest with you. I think Chadwick's less likely to get booted than the last commenter on this, to be honest. Chadwick has said, I'm going to go ahead and take the L on this one. I'm going to go in stealth mode, and I'm going to hover real close to the water so the radars can't detect me. And Chadwick's just watching, you know, lock the phone. That way, you know, he's locked the phone on YouTube Premium, and he's just sitting there hoping that if he doesn't look at the chat, maybe it won't change his fate. Smitty, you block people because they, you know how many people, you know the people that say this guy, that talk trash about me on other platforms or wherever, they say, yeah, this guy blocks anybody who disagrees with him. Do you realize that every single one of those people are somebody that was completely disrespectful or causing turmoil? And then they act like they were just disagreeing. All I did was disagree. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. All I did was disagree with them on a topic. I called them trash. I called him trash. I said, don't listen to this guy. It's absolute trash. He blocked me because I disagree with him. Oh, bro. I'm wearing these gunners for a reason, man. I'm looking everywhere, left, right. You don't know where my eyes are going. I'm looking over there. I'm looking over here. I've got my eyes moving left and right constantly. All right. This super chat here from Alex. He says, should I trade Wandell for RJ Harvey? I would. Definitely. 100%. That's light work. Light work stuff. I think we got all the super chats caught up. Would you trade Brees for Bucky? I'd probably take Bucky if I could wait on him. Running backs are Warren and Hampton. I don't know that you can. I guess I would. Depends on your record then, if you can wait on him.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial into the bentonprint.com phone line. Owners of the attic.shop. TMC injured. I can't take any more, Smitty. TMC. Ted McMillan? All right, phone lines are open. Dial in. Puka Nacua not listed on the injury report. A.J. Brown fully practiced again. Barkley fully practices. Barkley's looking like he's 100% ready.
Stock on the rise.
TMC. Well, who's TMC, bro? No one calls anybody TMC. Terry McLaurin, Ted McMillan. What are we talking about? Ricky Parasol ruled out. Brock Purdy questionable, of course. Mac Jones will start. That's all the news right here. Ray, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you though. Harvey stock going up after Dobbins injury. I did cover that in a whole segment, my boy. But in a nutshell, go watch the beginning of the show to get more on that. But we did a whole news breakdown on everything. Yeah, of course. You know, we're still waiting news. It does sound bad. The fact that J.K. Dobbins is like cursing and going crazy on Twitter, and they're getting opinions, that doesn't sound good. So if J.K. Dobbins is out for the year or on IR, then Harvey's going to the mother freaking moon. And I don't feel or get the sense that Sean Payton worries about Harvey like Stevenson's out, and we wonder if Hendy's going to get the work. Is Hendy going to start splitting reps with other running backs? So I feel very much more confident in Sean Payton saying, okay, Harvey, it's your turn. And he fully goes with Harvey. I mean, he'll split some work. But I think that, you know, we're really excited about Harvey getting a shot versus Hendy. We're still hoping that they see this right. It's like Vrabel doesn't know what he's doing. Thank you for the super chat. This one here from CJ. CJ 7-2, JD5, Chase, Rice, Igbuka, Pickens, Chase Brown, Hendy, Vidal, Fannin. Which QB or running backs can I go after? Everyone just wants Rice. Well, I mean, because I don't think you can trade Buka for what he's worth. And I mean, I love Chase. Chase, Rice, Buka. Your team's good, bro. Chase Brown, Hendy. I don't know, man. Part of me likes your squad the way it is. Assuming you have some sort of, who's your quarterback at all, though? I don't even know who you said you lost JD5, but I don't think you listed who you got. I mean, I'd probably try and move Pickens, or if I was moving Rice, it'd be down to a Nico. Rice to Nico, or Rice to, it would be Buka, but you have him. Rice to Nico or Rice to Adams, potentially, to get that quarterback. Like, would I take Josh Allen and Nico for Rice? Of course I would. Would I take Josh Allen and Nico for Chase? I don't know about that, but it's something you've got to consider. But you're 7-2. You know, how much do you really move? I think I would definitely consider moving Rice for Josh Allen or Mahomes and Nico, or it's tough. I mean, there's not a lot of wide receivers that I love downgrading Rice or Jamar Chase to, or Buka. You know, Buka's one of them, and you have them, so it's hard to move that. Now, could you go in a running back direction? Yeah, because you got Pickens. You could go Chase, Igbuka, Pickens. So if we can't get the right receiver, maybe we go Rice or Chase down to Dowdle and Josh Allen, or Henry and Josh Allen, or Barkley and Josh Allen, or Jacobs and Josh Allen. Like, I could do that. So look at the Josh Allen Mahomes owners and see what they have. And if they have even a backup quarterback that, like Drake May or something, that makes him able to do that. If not, I don't know how you get a quarterback. Who's going to trade a quarterback unless they're in a weird, I've got Drake May. Now, would I trade for Baker using Pickens? Or, yeah, I mean, Pickens for Baker in something. Would I trade, who was your other team? Or your other players? Let's see here. Like Vidal to the Hampton owner for a Baker or something like that. I mean, I just don't know who your quarterback is. If you got Flacco or something, then you're probably okay right now. But your team's really good. You're 7-2 for a reason. There are very few 7-2 teams, man. You look at it, every league, there's maybe, I don't even think every league has a 7-2 team. Maybe. Let me take a look at like 3 random leagues right here. Maybe there are. 6-3 is the highest one in this league. 7-2, and then a 6-3, so there's just one. This particular league. Wow. 5-1 is, or 5 wins in this one. 7-2, 7-2, 2 of them in this one. Seven and 2, 6-3. So I guess maybe 3 out of 4 leagues have one 7-2 team. I'd say by the looks of it. You're live 336. What's your name?
Hey, Smitty, it's Josh here. I just had a couple start sits for you tonight.
All right.
Jalen Warren or Hendy?
I'm gonna go Hendy. Like, that's one of those calls where you have to be okay with. You can't be like, I knew it. I hate him. I'm never trusting him again. Like, they're both sharing carries. Hendy really isn't sharing carries right now if Ramondre's out, and you expect him to be out. So but anything's possible, bro. I mean, Warren scored in touchdowns, and he looks pretty good, but.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned, but I'm 8-1 in that league, so I can do what I want. The next one is Henry or Otten.
Hunter Henry?
Yeah, for tight end.
Oh man, what did Otten?
Kind of desperate. I lost Kraft last week.
I like Otten a little bit. You know why I like Otten? Because last week he had 5 targets, caught 4 of them, had 40 yards, and Baker was trash. So I kind of feel like when Baker gets back on track, Otten will be part of it. The whole wide receiver room is injured. And the fact that Otten's gotten 6, 9, and 5 targets, actually 5, 6, 9, and 5 targets in back-to-back games, I think the recipe is Baker playing well or Baker not playing well. If he's playing well, Otten's going to eat. The week prior, he had 7 for 65. I like Otten. Let me just look at Henry real quickly. Henry's always like a dangerous touchdown. Hunter Henry's always dangerous for like a touchdown or 2. 6 targets last week.
Just more dependent on it than Otten, probably.
Yeah, and the fact that he's been really inconsistent, all year. Like 1 reception, 4, 3, 2, 2, 8, 1. I mean, it could happen at any moment. And he has a tough matchup against Tampa Bay. Semi-tough matchup against Tampa Bay. But Otten, on the other hand, I mean, New England's pretty generous against tight ends, so I would go Otten.
Yeah, I like it. And then the last one was just Kenneth Walker or Shakir, which I'm not really excited about, but
Kenneth Walker, Shakir. Man, Walker's so hard to trust. I mean, his carries last week 11, and it was a good matchup too. 3.8 a carry. The last 3 games he hasn't been over 3.8 yards per carry. His average. He hasn't had one time he had 3.88, 3.82, 3.4. Now, granted, he looked good the week prior to that, but still only got 10 carries. He's only gotten. Yeah, I don't know, man.
He's getting some more goal line carries, I think.
And Arizona's pretty crafty against the run. I don't think he's a really good play. It was Shakir?
Shakir, yeah. Man, I know Miami's secondary is pretty good, too, though.
Yeah, but Shakir's either going to, like... Are you there?
20 or 4.
Yeah, Shakir's either going to pop off or... Miami's not... I think it's not the easiest matchup on paper, but I don't know. I think Miami's so beaten down on offense. I think their defense is just going to pay the price. I would probably say Shakir's gotten 9, 5, 7, and 8 targets in back-to-back games. So I think if we're being smart here, we're using trends. I think Shakir, Otten fits the bill here.
Yeah, the only thing with the Shakir thing is I'd have to pick him up and drop Kenneth Walker.
Oh, yeah, I can't drop Kenneth Walker. So I guess Walker. I guess Walker.
Walker, yeah. That's a bad situation, but all right, that's all I have.
All right, later, man.
See you.
All right, man. Ivy with a $20 holler, Ivy.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Ivy, appreciate you. Would you have used Lad plus what? Would have you used Lad Kittle or Lad Glad? Lad Glad or Lad Kittle to get a Buka Lesser tight end? Would you use Lad Kittle or Lad Glad? Buka Lesser tight end. I would probably say give me Buka Lesser tight end than Lad Kittle. I like Glad. I like Gadsden. I think you mean Glad as Gadsden. I like Gladdy a little more than I like Kittle. And that's not to say like from a football perspective. It's just you're talking about the Niners being ravaged with injuries, and Kittle is going to be asked to be their number one offensive lineman. But I don't know. I mean, they're both pretty good, but I'd take Buka in the lesser tight end. Not sure if Buka owner would do it, but worth a shot. The fact that you don't need a tight end, like if you're telling me you have Ladd, Gadsden, and Kittle, why would you want a tight end back at all? Why not just get Buka and like another player? So I guess I'm confused there. And then pick two running backs, Monangui, Woody Marks, or Kenneth Walker. I'd probably go Monangui and Walker right now. But it really comes down to Chubb and other running back news in Houston. Marks should bounce back a little bit, I think, assuming he's healthy and everything. I think Walker's a tough matchup, so we just went over that. I'd say Monangui's the lock. I lean Walker until we hear really solid news on Marks' situation. So thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Same team got offered Pickens for Bucky or ETN. I would take Pickens over ETN. I'm not trading Bucky for that. And Thomas with a super chat. Thomas, appreciate you. Thoughts on any moves? 12 team, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, 7 and 2 May, JSN, Buka, London, Rome, Booty, Barkley, Bigsby, Dowdle, Hubbard. Again, it just, I don't know why it bothers me so. Well, I guess never mind. You're actually listing backups. Okay. Harvey, Monangui. Man, this team's pretty good, Thomas. Buka, London, and JSN, Drake May, Barkley, and Dowdle. I mean, you got a good squad there, bro. Monangui, Gadsden. I think I'm sitting tight on this one. I think the only thing I'd consider is like, can you trade Rome? Yeah, I don't know. Rome and let's say, I don't want you to trade. You know what? Like Rome and Monangui for one like safer upgrade of some kind, like a Nico. But there's something crafty about Monangui and Rome, though. You know, like I don't even know if I want to do that. What about trading one of them for Bowers, giving up Gadsden on buying Bowers on this like panic? You know what I'm saying? That would be good. Jerome says Gadsden more than Kittle. Dude is a Niner hater. Yeah, Jerome, call in. Call in. Jerome, the phone line's here for you. Call in.
Call into the show. Call into the...
I don't understand some people. I really don't. I'm really curious to know his mindset. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate you. I would be tempted to look at that, but other than that, I don't think I'd touch that team. That team's fantastic, my boy. Absolutely fantastic. First timer, love the show. Thank you, Dave. Dave with a 20.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Dave's a monster. Dave says, first time, love the show. 5 of 4 PPR. May, Dart, Buka, AJ, Pickens, Bijan, Achane, Walker, Marks, Harvey, Benson, Tyler Warren, Loveland. Traded Jalen Warren and Garrett Wilson. For Garrett Wilson. I think that's pretty even. I think that's pretty even, bro. Pretty good. I think if you spam it another 100 times, you'll see it. Jerome, well, instead of talking trash, why don't you just call the phone line and tell me how you feel? Sounding board for you. I mean, I'd love to hear your logic here. Explain to the live chat who you're by yourself on this, by the way. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you realize. Look at this. Gadsden more than Kittle. I'm a Niner fan. Oh, dude must be a Niner. That Niner hate's crazy. Am I right? And yet there's cricket sounds, Jerome. There's cricket sounds behind you. Okay. Dave says, Dave, this is a good team. So Garrett Wilson and Tyler Warren are very close. I think because you got Loveland, it's not a bad move to make. But you have Buka, AJ, Pickens. I guess I would say that if you need to sit one of those three wide receivers, I don't know if I love the move. You know? But I don't know that I hate it either. I love Tyler. Oh, Jaylen Warren. I said Tyler Warren. I'm sorry, bro. This is Jaylen Warren for Garrett Wilson. This is a fantastic trade.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Damn, my boy. That's an awesome trade. Dave, Smitty approved that. I'm sorry. I thought that was Tyler Warren. I just assumed it was Tyler Warren. Someone says pick up the phone. The phone's open. Let me close it and open it again. Maybe there's a problem. Here, phone line is open again. I'm looking at it. Any suggestions for upgrading? I'd probably say I would contemplate moving AJB, love Bijan and HN. AJB and Walker for a stud. For an absolute stud, my boy. That's what I'm doing. When I saw this traded Warren, I was assuming right above it says Tyler Warren. I was assuming you were trading Tyler Warren. Jaylen Warren for Garrett Wilson's fantastic. You could also trade Garrett Wilson and Walker for one stud. JJ, Buka, even like Nico is worth a look. You know, I don't know if I want to use Garrett Wilson as much as I'd want to use, let's say, Loveland, because they need a tight end, Walker and AJB for like, you know, for like a player like Nico and something. Love the team. Don't think you need to trade. You could also try, and if you could start three running backs, you could try and go get a Barkley, using Walker and Loveland and Garrett Wilson. I think you can consolidate some of that, Dave. I think you can consolidate that. Someone keeps saying that they've tried calling. I don't think you tried calling. I'm looking at the phone line right now. Most people were concerned. I take it Jerome's not going to call in. I don't think he wants to. Rashad White or Monangui. Probably Monangui right now. All right. I'll see you all. Jerome, you're not speaking your mind. You're sitting here acting as though there's Niner hate with this situation and acting like Gadsden doesn't deserve a look over George Kittle. That's what you're doing. This is what you're doing. No one's on your side to say that it's ridiculous to keep Gadsden over Kittle. Not to mention you're not even understanding or comprehending the fact that maybe Kittle gets you more. You didn't call. I'm looking at the phone line, Jerome. It's right here. You have not called. If you called, maybe it's because you got blocked on another call where you tried to call in and trash talk or something. I don't know. I'm looking at the phone line. There's no dialing. Pal. All right. Everybody, I'll see you all later. Appreciate you. I'll be back. We'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 2 hours from now. Appreciate you all. Sebastian says, my team is Dak, running backs Genty, Chase Brown, Pacheco, wide receivers Rice, St. Brown, Rico, London, Fannin, Bowers. What trades would you suggest? I think I would probably stand down, bro. Your team is unbelievably good. If I'm moving anything, I guess it would be maybe. Man, I wonder if you could get Bucky somehow. Like Genty's already played. Like, I wonder if you could trade Genty for Bucky straight up and you have Rashad White. It'd be kind of intriguing. You could throw in, Woody or Pacheco or something to help him out this week. I'd look into that. I don't know that I'm moving those receivers. I could maybe trade St. Brown down to like Buka and then try and move, let's say, Genty or Chase Brown up a tad. Try that. Maybe even down to an Adams, but that's the only thing I would consider. All right, later, everybody. Appreciate you. Stand down on this team or look for a trade. Mahomie, Herbs, Jacobs, Javonte Williams, Harvey, Rice, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Bowers, and Kincaid. I'd trade Kincaid on the high right now with... I'd probably sell T. Higgins on the high. I like T. Higgins a lot, but I would sell him on the high. Kincaid and T. Higgins for one monster, bro. Keep Javonte, keep Herbo, keep Jacobs. I mean, I guess I could trade Herbo since you have Mahomie, but this week might be tough to do that. You'd have to have some sort of fill-in. But if someone's dire straits at QB, you could look to that. Pick up somebody, roll with them for a week. Yeah. Higgins and Kincaid, or even Kincaid and Jacobs for a slight Jacobs upgrade, or Kincaid and Javonte Williams for a slight Javonte Williams upgrade. Try those avenues. Appreciate you all. See you at 8 p.m. Eastern.